Hey, what's up? What's up? It's me, Annette.
I am really, really honored.
Hey.
Shalom.
Hey, it's your girl, Annette. Hey, this is Annette B, and I'm here in the beautiful country of South Africa.
I've always had a diary, so I've always been.
Well. Yes, I'm back. I wasn't here last week due to having some sad news. And so here I am back again this week. So welcome to the Annette B Life Talk Story. Now, I have this amazing gentleman who's been around in the community, waving a flag and championing people, that he believes needs their voice heard. Now, this gentleman is no other than Bishop DESMOND JADDOO. Welcome.
Hi, good evening, Annette, and good evening to everyone.
Great. How are you?
Truthfully,
I'm
absolutely shattered, but there you go.
I hear you. Well, you have been doing a lot. You've been
Indeed, I think per day at the moment, I've been using a monitor, and I'm doing 17,500 steps a day.
Wow.
Campaigning. That's a lot. That's why I'm absolutely shattered. I'm feeling aches and pains where I've never felt them before in a long time. But there you go.
Wow. So tell us about why you are doing what you're doing. What led up to you taking the decision to run for this post?
It's something I've always had an interest in. As everyone knows, a proportion of my work is to hold the police to account. And having dealt with cases of deaths following police contact, also as well with cases of incivility and also case of use of excessive force, particularly against members of our community. One of the things I recognized was that, particularly with COVID, our voices just weren't being heard and we'd not been taken seriously. And every form of disproportional action that the police take is against our community. And clearly leveling their playing field is very, very important. Alongside that, Annette, last year we saw the death of George Floyd and everyone was taking one knee. And today, where are we? We're nowhere further forward. And that's a key element of that also. The other issue is following various deaths in custody of people from our community. And many people don't know about Simeon Francis. I'm assisting that family now. And he died following police contact in custody. And he died 2 weeks before George Floyd in a police cell at Torquay police station. Now, that's not just the only issue of deaths in custody that we face, but the main crux of it is that one of the things I learned as chair of the Windrush National Organisation and also co-founder and chair of the Windrush Movement UK is that Windrush happened because we didn't have strong voices around decision-making tables. And clearly there is a need for not just a strong voice, but strategic leadership. We can participate all the time in seminars, in documents, getting our names tagged to various reports. But where's the action to ensure we level that playing field? And hence why I threw my hat in the ring, however, at a late stage, but threw it in the ring for Police and Crime Commissioner, because equality and social justice is the foundation of our community. And if there's no equality and there's no social justice, where are we going? Back to the cotton fields. Can't have that.
So what impact do you think you will make if you are successful in obtaining this post?
Yeah, the difference that I bring is that I don't have to read hundreds of reports. We already know what many of the issues are that impact upon communities generally. Over the years, I've been blessed to work with other communities, members of the South Asian community, for example, also as well, with, obviously people who are white. I go across the board. And one of the things is with that, and that you develop that understanding of language, you develop the understanding of issues, and you develop a clear understanding of the factors that drive disaffection, but importantly as well, that drives division in communities. And importantly, what we need to do, we always hear the buzzwords. The community has to be the police and the police the community. We don't have a diverse police force, for example. Why don't we have that? Because there's a mistrust of the police, and people, particularly from our community, don't want to join the police, for example, because they see the police there as an oppressive organization against particularly members of the Black and African and Caribbean community, and also the Asian community. And on my campaign trail as well, what I found now, there are many members of the white working class community that also are disillusioned with the police. And clearly, anyone would say to me, well, do you think the police are needed? Of course the police are needed. But what we require is proactive community policing to make people feel safe in their communities, especially at a time when we've got young people killing young people. Gun and knife crime is a regular occurrence on our streets right now. We've got a body count on our streets. We've got someone whose house has been burgled, and the police say that we have no resources, we can't come. Indeed, when our Frenchie was stolen, our French bulldog, the police said to me, we'll just take a report and file it. But then, after that, it highlighted how dog theft is becoming a frequent occurrence during the COVID lockdown. And they're all going for pedigree dogs as well. And some people say, well, it's only a dog. It actually not. Dogs are a part of many people's households. And the importance, why I'm stressing this, is what is important to me and may not be important to you, and vice versa. And it's finding that equilibrium, that point where we can say, right, how can we serve everyone equally and fairly? And that's not happening right now.
Wow. So if you were successful and you actually did get into post, what would be the sort of first areas that you believe you would be, looking into?
Okay. I mean, I've got the first 100-day plan. And my 100-day plan is to set up 5 charters. A charter for women. Women don't feel safe. We've seen the sad murder of Sarah Everard, and there's been other women who have gone missing. We know about women being stalked, we know about women being exploited, and we know about domestic abuse and domestic violence. And importantly, we want a women's charter, but that women's charter will not just be developed behind closed doors. That's developed in conjunction with academics, developed in association with community leaders, victims themselves, and women who are not victims, and also organizations as well. So importantly, it's the bottom-up approach. That's the important thing. It's a bottom-up approach that we want to use. A men's charter as well. People forget sometimes that men are victims of domestic violence and domestic abuse, believe it or not. In addition to that, addiction. Remember, you've got a lot of men who are addicted even to cannabis. Please don't curse me. But, the thing about it is, at the end of the day, there's a lot of addiction out there amongst men, and also mental health. And important as well, the socio-economic factors that go alongside that. So we need to have a men's charter, a children's and young people's charter. We're not investing in our children as a society. But investing in children may not be the responsibility of the Police and Crime Commissioner, but the underinvestment in children impacts upon policing should they stray across into criminality. And once they stray across into criminality, we know sometimes that some children get labeled, and then the inequality sets in. Then we've got the inequality of the criminal justice system. So it's to bring agencies together alongside, yet again, the public, the parents, the youngsters themselves, to develop an action plan. Because when I was doing our Safer Streets plan, which I'll talk about in a bit, what we did was we discovered that Birmingham, for example, and indeed the wider West Midlands, is failing our children in accordance with the UNICEF Charter on Children. Now that's a quite important charter, and Birmingham is failing to meet the requirements of our children.
Can you elaborate more on that, please, Desmond?
For example, children have a right to be safe. They have a right to be educated at a time where we've got so much educational underachievement. They have a right to live out of poverty. They have a right to live a healthy life. I mean, at a time when people have poor housing, we've seen various articles in the press about how people are living, how damp houses are. But it's nothing new in that, I hasten to add. My background's housing. And issues I was dealing with, oh God, I've been out of it now for over 20 years. Issues that I was dealing with 25, 30 years ago are still in existence today. Why? I mean, we talk about also as well having a faith charter. Faith plays an important factor, but when I say a faith charter in it, it's the Muslim community are recognized, the Sikh community are recognized, the Hindu, also the Christian communities. But many a time, the actual Black Pentecostal churches are missed out. So we need a charter that incorporates everyone. So it's not for the chosen few, it's for everyone. And the other thing that I want to develop, Annette, is what we call a race charter.
Okay.
Enough of putting a small plaster over a massive crack. What was the point of everyone taking one knee last year? We're not standing tall now against discrimination whatsoever. And clearly as well, the relationship between the police and the minority community, and particularly the Black African Caribbean community, is not good. And we need to address that. Issues of inequality, racial stereotyping. We've seen the issues surrounding deaths in custody. And I will tell you, I've sat through trials and things that I've heard, they are absolutely horrendous when I hear some police officers describe people. And right now as well, we must not lose sight of the fact that Birmingham Crown Court now, I think it's day 2 of the Daly and Atkinson trial as well, where two police officers are charged in connection with his death. Now, the point I'm making is this. Unconscious bias in it doesn't exist as far as I'm concerned. It's either you're racist or you're not. And we can't keep making excuses for blatant and flagrant discrimination. We must weed it out and get it out of the police force so that we can build greater community relations. And if we do that, what we'll find as well in there, people from our own community may then decide to join the police. But importantly, at this moment, what we've got to do is someone has to have the courage to do what I call the other part of one of my pledges is zero tolerance to all forms of discrimination. We don't allow a few and say, oh, well, we'll let that one slide. It's zero tolerance. It's as simple as that.
We've got a question from Ellie Bell. She wants to know, how can the PCC change things?
Thank you, Ellie, for that. That's a great question. The Police and Crime Commissioner sets the police strategic plan for their term of office. You can either set it as an annual plan or as a plan. In this case, it would be for 3 years because 1 year's already gone in terms of the term of office because it was extended from last year because there was no elections because of COVID. But importantly, you set the strategic crime plan so that's the policing priorities. We do that in consultation with the public and also community organizations as well. So we set that priority. Importantly, the Police and Crime Commissioner is the strategic lead that bridges the community and the police. Importantly, the Police and Crime Commissioner sets the budget for policing, and they can increase the council tax accordingly within what is known as the precept. And the additional thing, and this is the key element in it, the Police and Crime Commissioner holds the Chief Constable to account. Meaning if the Chief Constable is not performing, then the Police and Crime Commissioner has the power to remove the Chief Constable. So I want everyone to be clear tonight. The election isn't about electing me to be a police officer, because the Police and Crime Commissioner is not a police officer. You are there to oversee the day-to-day functioning of the police from a strategic level to ensure that they're delivering to the policing plan which should meet the expectations, requirements of you, the people.
Wow. I hope that's giving you more insight, Ellie. Rob Thaw, he says the real change needs to start at home with good parenting from all family members. What's your
Well,
view on that?
this is one of the reasons why we're having the charters, Annette, because ultimately we want to hear what everyone's expectations are. It's a statement that I hear a lot, but what we need to do is educate people. And one of the important things of the charter is this: we can't be inputting and investing in children if things aren't right at home. But it's not for the Police and Crime Commissioner to deal with all of this. However, the Police and Crime Commissioner can be around the table. And importantly, the Police and Crime Commissioner can even help facilitate this alongside the other agencies. I'll be brutally honest with you, Annette. Interagency cooperation sometimes is not very good. And one of the things that I am against is the police getting involved in areas that are clearly not their responsibilities. And we need to have roles and responsibilities clarified. So, for example, when it falls within the remit of children's services, that's where it is. You know, we saw in the Kingsley Burrell case, for example, the ding dong there, because the police had contact with Kingsley, and it was clear that police contact played a part in his death in terms of the use of excessive force. However, the police said he was in the care of Solihull and Birmingham and Solihull Mental Health Trust. So we start there passing the buck, if you get what I'm driving at. And you need to have clear lines of responsibility. And that's the important thing there. We need to be having that joined up working group to look at the family. And importantly as well, community has a big part to play in this. And I'm sure that, you know, if you were going home from school, school finishes at 3:15, you're supposed to be on your road at 3:30, and you know you're sneaking in because your parents were at work, so you're snucking at 4 o'clock. But soon, no, we don't have that anymore because we get called a snitch or we get told where to go. So in terms of that, we need to have that all important joined up working between community and authorities, not just the police, authorities generally.
One of the questions that Ellie's asking in response to Rob's question is, how can we encourage those changes in the home, and what would be the strategy?
Well, what I've done is that I've already been in touch with people that deliver assistance and support to the home. So I've already got that. And there are people who are able to do that all important input and support parents whilst children are being supported as well. So as a part of our greater plan, which is called Safer Streets, for which we're going to set up a panel, that would come under Safer Streets, where we look at the home, but we don't just look at, and Ellie's question is very, very relevant because she said the home. So not just the parents, how do people live? How do children get fed? Is there enough money going into the home? Why isn't there enough money going to the home? What changes could be made to improve their living within their home, and then their home lies within a community and an environment? Is it covered with rubbish and rats? Is the street lighting poor? Are there jobs? Where's the nearest school? Are the children going to school in school uniform, or is the uniform torn up? You know, things like that are important because those socio-economic factors could lead to additional issues at a later date. Potential criminality, for example, potential grooming, potential exploitation through county lines, for example, potential to take part in criminality in terms of gun and knife crime. And ultimately, the saddest part is, could lead on a slippery slope to either a long prison sentence or someone losing their lives. And we need to have diversions in place. But as I've said, it's about investing in the complete family unit, not just from the PCC, but also across the board, working with our agencies as well.
Okay. Ellie says, family dynamics are different. Not everyone has the support with the children, etc. Parents are busy making a living. Grandparents are still working too.
Yeah, and I get that. And one of the things is, although the PCC can only go so far. However, this is where community comes into play. Now, when I was growing up, when I was born, my mum went to work, but there was one person in the house, because they had a shift systems on in the house, looked after the children, and everyone contributed. So it's all about that sense of community, and we've got to go back to that, because those were great days. We had so many aunties and uncles, it was unbelievable. And I used to get a load of dinner. That's why I'm the size I am, you know. But on a very serious note, you know, this is why we're having the charters, so that you can come and have that conversation. And what you're saying will not fall on deaf ears, because we all have our part to play in changing how society is.
So you believe that if you were successful and people voted you in, you'd be able to make a big difference?
I would hope so. I think without being in office, Annette, I think I have made a difference. We collect knives off the streets, although one of my fellow candidates says, well, you can just go in the kitchen knife, but they missed the point. It's 150 knives off the street. And if I show you some stuff that's been handed to me by parents, you'd be mortified. You know, hunting knives, so long, hunting knives over 1 foot long with serrated edges and sharp. What we've taken out of weapon surrender bins over the years, we've taken out handguns, handguns, live ammunition, CS gas canister. And I'm not talking about pepper spray. I'm talking about proper CS gas canisters. You know, but people have made conscious decisions to deposit these in the bins. And that's what's important. Also, as a part of our safer streets, we're not just talking about taking knives off the street. We're talking about even setting up boot camps and trying to find out how our children need to aspire in terms of simple asking them one simple question, Annette. What would you like to do? It's not rocket science, is it? You know, I'm sure no child would like to say to me, I want to go to prison. No. Some may say, I want to be a brain surgeon. And then some may laugh at them. But I was a chair of an alternative provision school, CUL Academy. I took over when it was in special measures. We turned that school around, although they provisioned it, gave it to another academy body to run. However, Annette, we ended up with some of the best exam results out of all the schools in North Birmingham that were alternative provision. Wow. We had children coming in, and people said prison numbers were tattooed on their head. And to be honest with you, I mean, Annette, they left with GCSEs, you know, A stars to C, because we invested in them. I sent them away to a boot camp, Annette. We found the money, and we were criticised for doing it, but I took a chance, and I paid for that. And once we paid for that, you know, obviously out of the sniding personally, but, you know, Annette, they went away with the teachers, and all they were able to do was cook, have recreation, yes, watch EastEnders, because we're not going to deny them that, and education for 1 whole week. And they came back and they passed their exams. Wow. And it taught me a simple lesson: invest, invest, invest.
Wow, wow, that is amazing. Rob, he says the world is so different now, which is so true. He says, I remember you could never be rude to an adult. Things have really changed.
They have. But is there hope? Yes, there is.
Yeah.
There is hope. Because at least when the youngsters do get in trouble, they come to the adults. And we can't shun them. You've got to love them. You've still got to try and help them sort them out. You know? But at some point in their life, the penny will drop. But wow. What I don't want, Annette, is for the penny to drop and they're not around to see it.
Wow.
And it breaks my heart, you know, that happens.
I hear you. I hear you totally. So we've got just a few minutes left. So sure. How could people go about looking, you know, delving a bit more into knowing who Bishop Desmond Jaddooo is and what he stands for?
Basically, you can go to my website, desjadoo.org.uk. I'm on Facebook, Desmond Jaddooo, my public page, Des Jaddooo, my personal page, Des Jaddooo on Twitter. And you can go to my party, for which I'm the leader, which is wematterparty.org. And I just want to spend 30 seconds on We Matter. We Matter is a political party that we formed, and it was registered by the Electoral Commission in March. For next year, Annette, we are seeking members now. We are seeking volunteers now. But Annette, we are also seeking candidates. We want people next year to stand for local council. Too long we've not been around the decision-making tables. We've got capable people who can contribute to civic life in Birmingham, in Coventry, in Walsall, right across the West Midlands, and indeed right across the country. We've got a candidate in Southbury, in Enfield, at tomorrow, a chap called Huey Rose. So importantly, there are opportunities, Annette, and we want to share that opportunity. And the most exciting thing we have with We Matter is this. Any child between the ages of 11 and 18, membership is free. Because we want to invest. I can't come on your program and say we must invest in young people if we're not prepared to do that as well. But one very quick thing as well, we want to set up a tension board to deal with ongoing tensions in our community, particularly this coming summer. Because I think that what we need to be doing is ensuring that we start that all-important input straight away and hit the ground running with that.
Sounds very interesting. Ellie says, how can the community get behind you and support you? So do you want to just go over your contact details again, a bit slower so people know?
First thing, before I give you the contact details, first thing you can do is tomorrow is Thursday, between 7 a.m. and 10 p.m. Go to your local polling station. They will give you a green ballot paper. On there will be my name, starting, it's Jaddoo, J-A-D-D-O-O. Put your cross against my name. That's the first thing. Second thing, join us at We Matter. Go to www.wematterparty.org. You can send messages, you can express an interest there, and you can join our next public engagement meeting as well. You can join us. It's on the last Thursday of every month on Zoom. The link is actually on our website. And just join us to make a difference. Because, Annette, everything we do now is everything I do is based on biblical principles. And this is about making a difference. This is about using the time we have to make a difference. And it may not impact on me because I'm getting on. You know, when you first met me, I didn't have any white in my beard, but I've got some now. But importantly, the important thing is this. It's about our children and our children's future and their children's future. And I hope and pray that we don't need to be having this conversation in 30 years' time. But the conversation is this. Do you know something? My granddad and my grandmother had a chat and were miles ahead of where they were now. Aren't we doing great? And that, to me, would be the greatest achievement that we could ever have.
Wow. Wow. Well, Desmond, I want to say all the best with your endeavors and, you know, your plight for standing up for the community, and wishing you all the best. And
yes, thank you. Thank you very much. And everyone, remember tomorrow, go out and vote. DESMOND JADDOO. Thanks, Annette.
God bless.
Hey, what's up? What's up? It's me, ANNETTE.
I am really, really honored.
Hey.
Salam.
Hey, it's your girl, ANNETTE. Hey, this is ANNETTE B, and I'm here in the beautiful country of South Africa.
I've always had a diary, so I've always been